Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning, sir.
So, Mr. Harrington, we would like to hear from you. You've signed up to speak in reference to Judge Parker. He's a circuit court judge from... Judge, you sit in Loudon? Where do you sit?
Fauquier and Rappahannock.
Yes, sir. Okay?
Yes, sir. Can I
So we'll hear from you.
and request 5 minutes? I've been back. No, I'm just kidding. I saw we started a little bit
Yeah, you
past,
can have 5 minutes.
a little past 9, so.
All right, you can have 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I don't want anybody complaining when we're late in the airline business anymore. No. All seriousness, folks, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time, and thank you, sir, for opening this up in this forum. It's highly appreciative. 5 minutes, I'll talk lightning speed. I really have about 15 minutes, but I'll try to frame it all in 5 minutes. Obviously, I'm a captain with American Airlines. Prior to that, I served in the United States Marine Corps, and prior to that, I was a Ohio State graduate, Ohio State University. I landed in Warrenton, Virginia due to my airline business, and unfortunately during 9/11, we all remember 9/11, I had 2 9/11s on that day. I had one that they flew our airplanes in the buildings, and number 2, I was in the proceedings of the divorce, which did land me in Judge Parker's courtroom. And I'm not here to litigate that case, obviously, but I am here to say a couple things about Mr. Parker, Judge Jeffrey Parker, when I was in front of him. First off and foremost, his conduct was absolutely deplorable and disrespectful. When I went in there, I didn't want to be pro se, but after 9/11 and losing my job and losing my income and not having the ability to retain counsel, which I wish I could have done back then, I had to represent myself. And again, I'm not going to litigate the details of the case, but one particular situation that sticks out to my mind to this day is during that case, I went in there and represented for my custody of my children, which was imperative that I still be a father to them. I asked Mr. Judge Parker, where do I stand? He goes, right wherever you want. So I stand here, gave a very compelling case, and then the opposing counsel, Robin Gooley, stands up in a very laughing manner. Judge, we'd like everything dismissed. Mr. Harrington wasn't in the witness stand and states some law. He laughs. He goes, yeah, you know what? When I want to fly, I hire a pilot. If you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be in here, you need to be a lawyer. I was appalled by those comments. He goes, case dismissed. And they both walked through the same back door that they both came in. Anyways, so let me take a fast forward to 2008. In 2008, I was amazed that his wife could be in charge of mediation and he'd be a sitting judge. So I made a phone call to Lori Parker's business and just asked her to receive my call and call me back and please explain to me how she can be charged of mediation and a judge can sit on the bench. Well, that's when the onslaught started. All of a sudden, I got a call from the Fauquier Sheriff's Department telling me I couldn't be outside that courtroom anymore because I protested for father's rights groups. Because at the time, I was appalled that a judge could act like this. And we all have checks and balances in my business. And I says, who is their boss? How do we take care of this judge that's completely out of control? It's the people. So I brought the case to the people. So what happened then at that time, Lori Parker sat there and was very upset. Who do you think you are to question who I do in this town? And I'm not from Warrenton, but many business leaders told me, you better not question that. I'm telling you right now, we were told that is off limits. Then Mr. Parker decides to have an own case of himself. He arrests me for summary contempt of court. Not only does he arrest me, he has me served the jetway at Washington National Airport as I'm flying in there from Tampa, Florida. I'll repeat that again. He had me served at Washington National Airport at the jetway. Now this is his case. Now I'm not going to go into the merits of the case and the affidavit that was full of untruths. The only thing true in that affidavit he filled out, I did call Lori Parker's business and I wanted to know why this is a conflict of interest. How can a lady, a wife of a judge, be in charge of mediation or have a mediation company if they're shielding back and forth? But anyways, I'll continue on to be a personal assault of me. So he has me arrested for summary contempt of court. Failure to appear. There was no failure to appear. I never got served. Now, Mr. Parker had his own judge and jury and executionist. Unbelievable. I fought in the United States Marine Corps for the U.S. Constitution. That's not what our country stands for. That's not what I saw my colleagues give their life for. We're sitting in front of his courtroom. Had a motion for him to recuse himself. He refused to recuse himself. Now, this is his motion. He's documented this stuff. He's made this thing up. He refused to recuse himself, and he was found guilty. It went to the appeals court. It was overturned. Now again, because of the compressive time, I'm not going to get into the details of that case. Guess what happened to the appeals court after it turned down and really told him that was not true and I was deny my due process? He appeals it to the the Supreme Court of Virginia, wasting the taxpayers' money. Really? On a case of that small? I'm sure the Supreme Court has a lot more cases to hear, but anyways, I'll continue on.
No, what happened with the Supreme Court?
They denied the hearing. It was just so, they just put it back down to the appeals court and said the appeals court is what's going to stand.
Okay, you need to wrap it up. I didn't give you the minute, but you got about 50 seconds.
Okay. And another thing too, Mr. Parker, I want to make sure, very important that everybody understands. I did not stalk him in his affidavit. He mentioned that there was a note on his car. I have documentation. I was flying. I was in Miami, Florida. And another quick thing is, as I was walking through the parking lot to go to meet somebody for a business meeting, Mr. Parker was coming out at 6:30 at night or 6 o'clock at night, which I didn't even know he was going to be there. And I did. I said, "Congratulations, Mr. Parker. You destroyed another young man's life by denying his father." He walks past his car, comes right up within inches of me, and says, "Mr. Harrington, if I catch you around here again, I want to issue a caveus on you." Really? It's not about his security. If you're scared of the beehive, you sure don't put your hand in it, do you? No. He actually threatened me and came right up within an inch of me and told me. So, in conclusion, though, I would like to say,
You've gone over, so I have to just end it.
I would like for you gentlemen to please implore the Judicial Review Board to seek, I've sent quite a few letters, that they do a proper evaluation and trial or an investigation of this process that I've gone through. And if they do it properly and call me and let me present the evidence, and they look at it and they do their job, they'll come back to you members, and I assure you, Mr. Parker will not be allowed to be on the bench anymore. But I ask you at this time to please suspend his next 8 years and allow the JDR or the Judicial Review Board to do their job. And once they do their job and come up with their conclusion, present that to you, and I hope that then you'll make the proper decision.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.